You're at a point in your life where you no longer connect to the people who you used to hang around, who you used to be around. It just doesn't feel the same. But you're not at that point in your life where you feel like you found people that get you, that understand you, and that you can connect to. You are currently experiencing your lonely chapter. And in my opinion, this is one of the most important chapters inside of your self growth, self improvement journey. And this actually, in my opinion, is also one of the reasons why most people do not go through with their self improvement journey. I don't think it's always about discipline and consistency and waking up at 6 a.m. It's really about what you do during your lonely chapter. So I want to tell you guys something about that. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is, why does it hurt so much? I think we do need to acknowledge that it hurts. It hurts being lonely. It hurts not feeling accepted. And nowadays, it's easy to feel like it doesn't hurt because now you can do everything on your phone and still feel connected. Or now there's this thing of everyone wanting to be introverts and homebodies. So you're welcoming the loneliness. You're welcoming it, saying, oh, it's okay. It's not that bad. But at your root, at your heart of being, it does hurt. And the reason why goes back to thousands of years ago, actually. And this goes for every ethnicity, no matter where you come from, because I don't want some people to be like, oh, well, that wasn't my people. It was you too. So thousands of years ago, when we were hunters and gatherers, we were nomadic. We lived by the land. We traveled based upon the weather, right? Everyone had a task, and every task was important to keep the tribe alive, or the clan, or the group of individuals alive. There were hunters, people who went out and hunted the food. There were gatherers, people who got the berries and the fruits and stuff like that. There were the people who cooked. There were people who did some of the sewing. There were even people who would look out for danger. That was their job, to make sure that they weren't attacked by any animals or any other tribes or clans or anything like that. I say all that to say, without one group of the individuals, without one specific, job, if you will, it would lead to the detriment of the group because everybody needed to have their place. Now, back then, when you were not going along with the group, when you were not coexisting with the group and they didn't want you to be there no more, instead of really killing you sometimes, they would just leave you by yourself. We moving on without you. We gonna leave you. And essentially, that was killing them. Why? Because if you cannot have somebody that hunts for you, have somebody that, builds the tents, have somebody that looks out for the danger. You can't do all that yourself. If you've been hunting all day and you come back, you want to lay in the tent, you're going to be tired. You ain't going to have the energy to look out and make sure nobody attack you. If you've been building a tent all day, you don't have time to go out and get food. You get what I'm saying? So essentially, if you are by yourself, you're not going to make it. So how does that connect to us today? Whether you realize it or not, many of us still have essentially genes, essentially still the same chemical receptors inside of our brains, inside of our bodies that we had thousands of years ago, which is a big reason why we love feeling like we are accepted. We love feeling like we're in a group. We feel, connectivity. And we see it on every totem scale possible. We can see it even with gangs, right? Why do a lot of people join gangs when they're younger? Because it gives them a sense of belonging. It gives them a sense of acceptance. It's no wonder why a lot of people who join gangs, either their parents are constantly in and out of their life, or they don't have parents, or they don't really have a family structure, so they go for that. And they don't care what they have to do. They just want to feel accepted. Same thing can go for the other end of the totem scale with politics, right? Why are people so die hard for politics? Like, it's crazy thinking about it, but why do our politicians have like essentially apparel, like clothing stuff? Like, that's kind of weird if you really think about it. But nowadays, you tell people who you vote for, and either people think you're a great person or they think that you're a horrible person. Why? Because once you tell them that, they put you into a group. So people go hard for who they vote for nowadays. Whole families have separated. Like, I'm talking about mothers and daughters, fathers and sons don't talk no more because this person vote for this person and that person vote for that person. What is the root of it all? We all want to feel like we are part of a community. No matter what you say or what you do, everybody wants to feel accepted since the day we were born. Even statistically speaking, couples live longer because they have something to live for. They have that community, that love. So that's why when you're going through your lonely era, it hurts so much because you don't have that community. You don't have those experiences to share. You don't have that feeling of feeling like essentially you matter. And though nowadays, it's not a death wish essentially for us, but it still feels the same way in our brain. And that's why it hurts so bad. And that's actually why most people go back to their communities, because you want to feel like I'm accepted. You want to feel like you can thrive. You want to feel like you can live, and you get that Now it's not through, hunting and gathering and stuff, but now it's through going out together. Now it's through text messages. Now it's through a group chat. Just a way, a signal. We don't realize we do it, but that tells us we're part of the community. So instead of those specific tasks that make us part of a community, now what is it? It's usually the same music we listen to, the same experiences we had, such as neighborhoods we grew in, things like that. Sometimes jobs, definitely income, and just essentially way of life. The problem with this longing to be accepted is that we will do anything to be accepted, which means we will also demote our lives. So the reason why I said it's such a big thing that I think causes people to go back on their self-improvement and their self-growth is because if your friend group is not wanting to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning or talk about waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, if your friend group is not wanting to talk about reading books or listening to podcasts, eventually to keep you safe and to make you feel like you're part of a community, your brain is going to convince you it's something wrong with that. It's something wrong with listening to that kind of music. It's something wrong with waking up early. And it doesn't come that direct. So some people may be like, oh, well, I don't ever think like that. No, what it comes is when it's late night and you told yourself that you're going to wake up early, so you got to go to sleep early, you decide to stay up all night. That's your brain saying, okay, I can't physically force you to not do it, so I'm going to make your body feel like it doesn't want to do it. And that happens a lot. Another thing it can also do, we tell ourselves, well, I don't watch this show no more, and I don't listen to this, and I don't do this, I don't do that. And then when we get around our friends, we do it, right? I don't go to this place no more. Or we convince ourselves, well, I guess it's not that bad. Oh, well, maybe I was making a big deal about it, and it's not that serious. We do that to ourselves. Why? What is our brain doing? It wants us to be a part of a community. It doesn't want us to feel like that person inside of the group thousands of years ago that was kicked out, that had to fend for themselves and eventually die off. So I want you to understand that's why it's so hard, and I think that's why it's so important, is because it will cause us to go back on ourselves. It will cause us to go back on our workouts, back on eating healthy, if we're surrounded by individuals who are not doing those things because we just want to feel like we're a part of a community, but we haven't done the work, we haven't found the individuals that make us feel like our new life is acceptable. Another reason why, it's hard is because of something called survivor's remorse. Not sure if you heard about this before, but they often use this term when they're talking about people who are in the army. It basically is a sense of, let's say if I'm in an army group or an army team and me and my team go out and it's 5 of us and 4 of them get killed and I'm the only one that survives, or 2 of them get killed and I'm the only one that survives. Or you get what I'm saying? Like that thing. A lot of people have something called survivor's remorse. They're remorseful. They're sad that they survived because it makes them feel like, why did I survive? And why me? And why did they get to make it? And this person had a family and that person had this, that person. Why me? And it has caused a lot of soldiers to have mental health issues, to sometimes, go to addictions and things of that sort because they feel so remorseful. They have a survivor's remorse. And people don't realize, well, you have that too in your self-growth journey. You ask yourself, why am I the one that gets to make it out of this neighborhood? Why am I the person that should be the one, driving nobody wants to drive a $200,000 car surrounded by friends that drive $10,000 cars. I'm going to just be completely honest with you, because you get that survivor's remorse. You don't want people to feel like you think you're better than them, but also you don't want to feel like you're not a part of the group, and it makes you question everything. Why me? Why should I do this? Why do I even like this? You know that you want to wake up early. You know you want to start that business. You know you want to work out, but now you're questioning why you even do it because the group doesn't do it, because it's not accepted by the group, and you feel remorseful. Why you? And you, first and foremost, I want you to know you're never going to get an answer to that. So don't even get yourself down the loophole of figuring out why you. But also at the same time, I don't want you to pull yourself down because other individuals around you are not willing to pull themselves up. I don't want you to go back to your old ways because you feel remorseful, whether you realize it or not, that all these other individuals aren't doing this thing and you just want to feel part of the group. You want to feel part of the conversation because eventually you're going to feel like you're getting kicked out of the group. And it's not going to be usually directly a, oh, get out, stop talking to us, stop. But it's going to be this thing, if you say you don't want to go to that place no more and you know they always go to that place, eventually they probably just going to stop inviting you. Why? Because every single time they ask, you don't go. If you don't want to, watch that TV show no more and they like talking about that TV show, they might stop talking to you sometimes as much. Why? Because they talk about that TV show. Or if you go to sleep at a certain time and y'all usually stay up on the phone all night talking, and now you're like, oh, I got to go to sleep early. Maybe they're not going to talk to you as much. Why? Because they're going to talk at this time. And that's one thing I want you to understand. Don't get mad because people don't want to change their lives when you want to change your life. And you're going to feel like you're getting kicked out of the group. You're going to feel like you're not a part of them no more. And they're not even doing it on purpose, but it's because you're not doing things similar to the tribe anymore, similar to the group. Now, there is a middle that most people don't really know, where they don't talk about, but the middle is for those individuals that got stuck. And some people have gotten stuck there for years. And these are the people, no shade, who are kind of like the introverts, or they're kind of like the people who are like, oh, I don't really like people and I don't really like going out, da 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 da. A lot of those people are just people who got stuck in their lonely chapter. You were supposed to flip the page, you were supposed to go to another chapter, but they never did. And a lot of times people have been stuck there for so long, they think it's their personality. Because what happens is they had experiences, they had growth, they had whatever it may be, that they're no longer connected to their old community, but they haven't done the necessary steps to find a new one, to find a new tribe. And yes, there's necessary steps. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge that. They think a new friend group, a new community, a new, you get what I'm saying, belonging is just supposed to drop in the middle of their lap, and it's not. You go out and find jobs. You go out and find a car. We go out and find everything. So yes, you have to go out and find these friends. And I'm not telling you that you have to beg people, be my friend, be my friend, be my friend. But you have to immerse yourself with these communities. You have to start going places that they go, whether it's workout classes, whether it's networking events, whether it's reading the same book. You have to start immersing yourself with them so you can be a part of them. Also, so you can be valuable to them. The reason why everybody inside of the community was valuable is because everyone did something before, right? One person hunted, one person gathered, one person did this. They all made each other balance each other out with value. They all brought different things to the table. The reason why it's hard for you to get to that next level is because you don't have nothing to bring to the table yet. You don't have any new experiences. You can read all the books, I tell y'all. You can watch all the YouTube videos, but you have to actually go out and experience things, to have failures, and have successes. So when you do find these groups, you can actually be a good part and connect with them. And the friend group that you currently have or you had in the past, everyone had a piece there, whether you realize it or not. There was the funny friend. There was the obnoxious friend. There was the crybaby. There was the realistic friend. Sometimes even the rude friend, right? So it's not like we all had our perfect things that meshed us together, and we were able to click like that. So you have to become that for the new group, and don't feel like, oh, I shouldn't have to change myself and I shouldn't have to. You're in between a rock and a hard place right now. You do not want to get stuck there. I promise you. It's so easy to get stuck there nowadays because we have cell phones, we have social media, and people don't realize you're using that to feel like you're a part of a community. You want to have a laugh, instead of laughing with extra group of friends, you go and watch a comedy. You want to cry, you watch a sad movie instead of having a real cry and sharing real experiences. You want to feel a sense of belonging, you watch people that look like you. Like, there's all these false senses of community that we get from social media, and I think nowadays that's what causes people to be introverts. That's what causes people to be to themselves. It's because they got stuck in the lonely chapter. They just haven't flipped the page yet, because a lot of people aren't willing to do the work to actually put in the work to make themselves valuable to another community. But also, with that being said, when you are trying to get to another community and you are trying to, find your new group and find your new people, do not look down on the people who you once were a community part of before. Because first and foremost, they are you who you just were a year ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago. But then also, don't think that now all of a sudden that you have some new information, you're a god or you're an educator. Nobody wants that too. Like, don't get me wrong, if your friends want to have conversations about growth and about, starting businesses and stuff like that, that's great. But also, don't be that person that watch one video but now that's all you want to talk about. Or you want to look down and, oh, y'all don't even invest, and y'all don't even do this, and y'all don't even do that. Do you do it? People comment on videos so many times of other people like, oh, I wish my friend group did this and I wish my friend group did that. Why don't you be a poster child for it? A lot of times people won't even listen to you because you're not doing that thing. You're telling this person, oh, I watched this video and they said this is how you build self-confidence and this is how you lose weight and this is how you do that. But then you're not doing none of those things. So why would they believe you? If I was to come down the street in sweatpants and a hoodie, some slides, my toes chipped, and I was to tell you I could teach you how to make $1,000,000, you probably wouldn't believe I could teach you how to make $1,000,000, because you would be like, girl, you don't even look like you know how to make $1. That's the same thing that your friends are saying. When you tell them, oh, this self-growth and this self-this and this self-that, and that's another reason why your lonely chapter is so important. It's about finding yourself. There were so many times I told friends, especially when I was starting my self-growth journey. I'm now on I'm now on number 3. You know, it's on and off thing. I've been consistent lately though, but in the beginning, especially, I would tell people things like, oh, I tried this and I tried that. And some of the things eventually, after I start doing them, they didn't work for me. Or some of the things, they weren't beneficial, whatever the case may be. But I would start trying so hard to make everybody a part of my new community when I had to realize they're still part of that community. And that's okay. But just because I'm experiencing new things and I'm trying new things, it does not make me a teacher. It does not make me a God. It does not mean, oh, I have to, teach them the way and show them the way. Because another thing I had to realize, everybody is just trying to survive. So the reason why I think the way I think and I do what I do is a mixture of my upbringing. It's a mixture of my background, my parents, so many things. And so sometimes people aren't receptive of what you're saying and they can't understand what you're saying or take it in, is because that's just not the life for them. That's the life that you were given the opportunity to have. Those are opportunities you were given the opportunity to have. And you want to pull everybody up with you. But little do you know, even if you were to write it down for them, even though you were to put it into 5 different languages, they would never understand it. So you're wasting your time. And it hurts so bad because you want to bring everybody with you. And you want everybody to live the good life that you want to live. But that's not for everybody. And respect that and understand that and love them through it all. But understand, this chapter is for you. This chapter is finding yourself. This chapter is learning to love yourself. This chapter is learning to learn the difference between good and bad for you, happy and sad for you. You can't learn that while you're bringing people. And a lot of times we use that as an excuse as well because we don't want to invest the time in us. We don't want to find us. We don't want to truly learn how to love us. So we put it on other people. Let me make them into a Picasso. Let me make them perfect, because we have inside stuff that we're still dealing with and we don't think we're worthy enough of this experience. We don't think we're worthy of this love. That's why it's so much easier to help other people than it is to help ourselves. And I want you to understand, this is going to be a lonely journey, but you have to go on it alone. You have to figure out who truly makes you happy, what truly makes you happy. What are things that you can do when you're having a bad day to make you feel better? What are some of the things you can do when you're feeling a certain way to get out of it or to get into it? Or what are your trigger points? You need to figure out you from top to bottom, up to down. And that's why I tell people your lonely chapter is a chapter that's really going to make you or break you, because it's so easy to go back to our old experiences. It's so easy to go back to the old things because we just want to feel that. We just want to feel like we're a part of a community. And just so easily, it's easy to get stuck too and get into that mindset that nobody's ever going to understand me and nobody's going to get me and I'm always going to be alone. And it's going to take time, and it might take a year, it might take 2 years, it might take a month, it might take 6 months. But understand, this chapter is normal. It is going to hurt like hell. Like I said before, you have the same feeling as people had thousands of years ago, being cast off, right? By not talking to your friends, by not going out, by not doing the things that you would do. But you owe it to yourself to get yourself out of this lonely chapter. Find your group, find your people, and ultimately love on yourself. So I hope this video was helpful. I've just been going through this lately. I've been going through a lonely chapter. I've been trying to figure out, who am I? What do I like? And just trying to learn how to build a life with only needing me. Of course, I want a community. Of course, ultimately, I want to feel part of a group. But I also don't want to feel like I'm dragging a group down. I want to feel as much as beneficial as anybody else. But I have to learn how am I beneficial? What areas am I valuable in? What areas am I good in? You know what I'm saying? And also, it doesn't mean you have to completely cut out your old friend group. It doesn't mean you have to completely get rid of that community. But maybe you could visit the tribe every so often. You know what I'm saying? Spend some time with them. But maybe just not the extent that you did before. And that's okay as well. Friend groups change, relationship changes, and that's okay. But I want you to understand that you're always going to have you and always be there for you. And I understand this time period is going to be hard, and it is hard, but I know I've been going through it, so I just wanted to help anybody else going through it. And know you have to go through it. You have to learn how to love you and care about you and not always pull people in and try to help everybody else. So thank y'all so much for watching my video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and just love and experience your lonely chapter. This chapter needs to happen. You need to go through it because you might go through it again, and you need to know what you do. And it's probably what's been holding you back. You're afraid of being lonely. You're afraid of being alone, and you just want to feel connected to something. But just know you're going to have to take steps to find that connection, to find that community, to find that group. Because like I said, you want to enter it and be just as valuable as everyone else and not feel like you don't belong here.